in 1978. The St George side seeded through to the fourth round, defeated Newtown 35-11, the quarter-final defeating Parramatta 27-9, and the semi-final against Cronulla 21-7. Eastern Suburbs also seeded through to the fourth round, defeated Western Suburbs 16-10, the quarter-final over the mighty Illawarra side 18 points to 4, and the semi-final defeating Manly by 14 points to 2. And so now let's have a look at the team rundowns. There's the St George side, identical to the one you saw defeat Cronulla in the semi-final, and leading that side again tonight, the man who really left a stamp on the semi-final, number 8, the lock forward, Rod Reddy. St George, of course, coached by Harry Barth. In the meantime, Eastern Suburbs have not been blessed with as much luck. Out of the side today, failing their physicals, at lunchtime, Arthur Beetson and Ron Coote. Now here are the changes, and the rearrangement is on your screen. Kevin Stevens moving to lock in place of Coote. Fulton at captain now moves into the 5/8 spot in place of Stevens, and Alan Power moves into Fulton's spot at centre. Grant Hedger comes into the reserves with Arthur Beetson's withdrawal. The referee for tonight's match is Jack Dancy. Carney feeding. St George ball, ready, Prodgett, Butler coming up. Ready to ruck half. Carney's calling for it. That's him. Finch throws the dummy. Spirals away from Harris, but gives it back to Jeffries, and he's tackled immediately by Fulton. No big pardons in that one. Young, ready. Swiveling back and getting it to Stone. The big man up the centre. To the halfway goes Stone. Tackled by Harris and by Fulton. Now Young. Craig Young looking to unload. He does that to Grant, and it's been overrun. Well done by the St George number 9 there. And it's still Mitch Brennan. Back to Quinn. And down to about 30 metres out from the Eastern Suburbs line. Young again, the man that started it. Ready. On the inside, it's Robert Stone. Young, a quick pass to Jeffries. Ball to the ground. Grant dives for it. And it's loose, and I think it's an East ball it is. The Roosters in possession. Mossman.
Both teams quick to capitalise on any handling errors, aren't they?
That's right, yes, but Eastern Suburbs are quick to that loose ball, aren't they?
John Mackay. Prodgett and Fairfax in a bit of a scuffle up. Danzy quickly tells Fairfax to get away out of it. It's Fulton. Fulton! Fulton! 35 metres out. Draws Butler for Hastings. Look at Brennan. But Hastings scores the first cup try. Magnificent break by Fulton. So Stevens from right in front, looking to make it 5-0, and he does that. The crowd roars as Eastern Suburbs draw first blood. 5-0 the scoreline, 10 minutes gone, first quarter.
Back into Fulton again, and then to Harris.
St George's scrum, going to the right of the field is Prodgett. Looking in vain for support. Jansen. Craig Young calling for it. Mistake by Jeffries. Out to Grant. Unexpected touch of the ball. Young now. Ready.
I was just going to say he hasn't been brought into the game very much so far. Around the rucks more than ever now, of course, with Beetson off the field.
Fulton cuts out Mullins to Harris. There's an overlap being created by Fulton's pass. Harris.
Too late. He should have given it straight away.
Bad blunder by the big centre. Fulton.
He revels in this sort of football, doesn't he, Fulton?
Hastings. Mountier. Eastern Suburbs 5. St George yet to score. 5 minutes out from quarter time. O'Reilly. Good tackle by Prodgett. Ailiff. Now to Fulton. There goes the bomb. Pressure now to Butler. Fulton's been felled. Butler's lost it. Fairfax has scored. Magnificent Eastern Suburbs try.
They've certainly set St George right back on their heels. They've had 2 opportunities and they've come up with 2 tries.
The kick by Stevens successful, and Eastern Suburbs bowled away. They lead by 10 points to 0 now. 2 cup.
Eastern Suburbs defence is in a situation like this.
No.
Penalty to St George. It's against the half Hastings. And Grant, with the breeze behind him, should have little trouble in bringing up St George. Mopping a bit of perspiration from the brow as he moves in, strikes it, and it's successful. The Dragons are on the way. Down 10-2, and quarter time just over 60 seconds. And it's an Eastern Suburbs ball. Fulton and Hastings working. Hastings lofting one over the top to Fairfax.
Oh, lovely.
Got his
Fairfax, wasn't it?
on the outside power. Now Mullins back towards the 22, and Grust about 22 metres out. Out to Ailiff. Ailiff looking for O'Reilly coming on the burst, but O'Reilly is going into dummy half now. Fulton calling for it on the right. There he is with the ball. Now to Mark Harris. Onto the 22. Wrestled to the ground by Reddy. Power, number 4 for Eastern Suburbs. Stevens opting to go himself. Here's O'Reilly. And this big man has created problems for St George, and here is Michael Mossman now. One-handed pass to Hastings. Turning it around to Mackay. Mackay over the 22. Mountier goes ahead a further couple of metres. Last tackle coming up for the Roosters. Leading by 10-2. Fulton. There it goes again. Another test for Butler. Butler's above them, and I think he's lost it again. He has. Yes, he has. George Grant with it. It's a penalty. It's offside.
I noticed Fairfax flattened his back too as he followed the kick through. But
penalty shot. Very versatile player is Kevin Stevens. Moving up. Strikes it. No troubles. And Eastern Suburbs lead 12 points to 2 through the courtesy of the boot of Kevin Stevens, who created such problems for being to unload, but to my way of thinking, a couple of seconds too late. Onto O'Reilly. Cuts out Mountier. Schubert couldn't see it because of players between him and the ball carrier.
See, East can make mistakes like that and recover. Same thing with St George. They're not there to take advantage of it.
No, but the big point about Eastern Suburbs is that their defence are moving up quickly, and they're pressuring St George all the time, and they're forcing them into those areas.
So that's against the ball player, in fact, interfering with the viewers' competition. George Grant moving up, looking for 12-4. It's got the length, it's got the height, but it's wide. Carney. Badly placed that kick. Schubert's had a fairly long run for it. Brennan chasing Schubert, but now Fairfax coming back at the different angle. And the ball kicker, Carney, makes the tackle. Hastings. Ailiff. Out to Power. Taken by Robert Finch. Royce Ailiff. Graham Quinn going in with the spinning arm, and the referee Dancy hasn't missed him either.
Couldn't really miss him in a situation like that. Probably pretty pointless, wasn't it?
But he just dropped it down in front of him. He's looking to get rid of it all the time, O'Reilly, isn't he?
Scrum won by the Eastern Suburbs side. The
Yes, there was
referee
a boot
Dancy
went there too.
has pulled out Grant and Reddy.
He's certainly in the wars tonight, Hastings, isn't he? He's caught the shoulder a couple of minutes ago, and now
Can't see it,
they're persisting in their tactics that they employed in that first half.
Stevens strikes it. It's there. 14 points to 2 is the score. Very important scrum, this one. Penalty to the Saints. Incorrect feed, is it? Against Hastings, yes. Indicating that he wants the ball fed in a downward motion. And it's a presentation for St George.
And he should be able to throw it over from there. There it is. Well, it's long, it's high, and it's a beauty straight between the posts.
14 points to 4, the scoreline. Eastern Suburbs with 8 minutes of the third quarter remaining. the Superstar Award and the Golden Try announcement for the players on the field, and most importantly the presentation to the winning captain of the 78 Cup champion and his speech in reply. More on that in just a moment of what's going to happen after the full-time siren. Here's Mullins just outside the 22. Back to Royce Ayliffe.
He's had a strong game tonight, Ayliffe, too.
He certainly has.
Playing it back to Schubert. On to Hastings. Penalty to East. That's more than likely the ball game. After full-time siren happenings, following the awards that I told you about, we'll then be announcing the draw for the very exciting $100,000 Challenge Cup starting next week on Channel 10. That competition will run for 4 weeks and will include 8 Sydney Premiership teams made up of the 7 clubs missing the semi-final and the 8th team being the club knocked out of the preliminary semi-final. That draw will be announced following the presentations tonight. Stevens has kicked 4 goals from as many attempts as 4 from 4, yes. And right in front, he makes it 5 out of 5. 16 points to 4. Stone meets granite, and that's really what this Eastern Suburbs defence has been tonight. A granite-like wall, as ready as put to ground, and it's Hastings for Eastern Suburbs, scampering through 2 tackles. Magnificent game, Kevin Hastings. Grant Hedger. $16 points to 4. Inside the last 5 minutes. Fulton. Harris. Fairfax was coming on that ball very quickly, and Terry Murphy was on his outside. Stevens to Fulton. Hastings coming from an onside position. He's got the ball! Juggling it and taking it to ground. Connor. Fulton. Chance for the tricolours here. Stevens back to Mackay. Mackay will play it back to Mal Connor. On in 16 for the red, white and blues. Fairfax wants it. That's him. Cuts out about 3 to Hastings. On it goes now to Royce Ayliffe, and he's into touch.
They're finishing strong, aren't they? The Eastern Suburbs, their defence has withstood everything that St George could throw at them, and now they're really opening up an attack. They hit St George with that early onslaught, rattling up 10 points in the first 15 minutes, with Fulton putting the first one on the board by Kevin Hastings at the 9th minute. And now it's been all Eastern Suburbs in the last 10 minutes of the game.
St George winning the scrum, and Carney is tackled. Don't forget, after the Amco Cup replay tonight, you'll see the final of the Amco Shield between Padua College of Brisbane and Fairfield Patrician Brothers of Sydney. St George now with the ball. 10 metres out from their own try line, and it's ready.
We said last week, when Reddy fires, St George fires, but unfortunately he's been well contained this evening, and St George very flat.
I must concede to you, Keith, you tipped Eastern Suburbs, and they did just exactly as you said. Their tackling, their defence has been the feature of this game tonight.
Unfortunately, Frank, it wasn't a very confident prediction.
St George now with Jansen saying, let's get out of here, but blotted down by Schubert. Referee Danzy taking it over to the 22, as coming from the field is Robert Stone for St George. And there's the siren. The cup final is over. Eastern Suburbs have won their second with a 16 points to 4 victory over the Dragons of St George.
60,000. Fortunately, it wasn't included in the budget last night, so it's still 60. Good luck.
Well, thanks very much, Mr. Vincent. I'd like to thank Amco and Channel 10 for making this competition possible. It's a fine event, and it can only get better. I'd like to get our captain coach up here now, Arthur Beetson. On behalf of the East players, I'd like to thank Arthur for the efforts that he's put into us throughout the season. He's got us playing the right type of football, obviously, to win this type of game. I would also like to thank my teammates on a great effort tonight. I'd also like to thank St George. Although losers, they put up a fine effort and played rugby league in the right tradition. Again, I'd like to thank all the supporters for coming along here tonight, and especially the East supporters. Thank you. Let's go.
That's it. That's probably the most popular Quinella in all of Australia, Bobby Fulton and Artie Beetson. Thank you, fellas.
Hold it up,
Straight through there, huh? Bob?
Hold up,
Good man. The boys taking the cup down to the team members of the champion team of East.